All right, what up, everybody? How's everybody doing tonight? I'm live once again. Today we are talking about just the energy of what's going on right now. And, one of the things I want to kind of touch on as we're talking about this is, you know, um, just manifestation in general. And when we talk about concepts like this, when we talk about the concept of manifestation and, um, most people frame it in the sense of like, oh, I want to manifest like specific things like a car or like money or like material things. And I want to kind of talk about it in the sense of developing yourself so you can achieve and attain the things that you wish to attain, but changing your psychology of how you manifest, because you never stop manifesting. Wherever you place your mind, whatever your identity is, whatever your belief structures are, this is what begins to manifest in your reality. And there's levels to it. What up, Saline? How you doing? And it's levels to it when you know, we think about manifestation, right? Um, like as people are joining, I want y'all to kind of put in on this. Say, for you, you know, um, what are the when you think of manifestation, what are the first things that come to your mind? And for everybody joining, let me know what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of the word or concept of manifestation. Like I said, we never stop manifesting. Wherever you place your mind, wherever you place your beliefs and your actions, that's how things manifest. And so I think that it's automatic. Um, in what sense? In one sense, like I said, it is automatic. I agree with that. I agree that once again, you never stop manifesting. Everything that you have in your experience is a manifestation, once again, of your thoughts, feelings, actions, your belief structures, the things that you align yourself to. So this goes along with the concept and idea that remember that your outer world is just a reflection of the inner, and this is the outer world is a mirror, right? And most people don't see this or understand this because you can get really caught up in our emotions and our projections, and because a lot of people get caught up in the idea like, oh, the world is so horrible, there's so much craziness out there because of the media, social media, because of all these different things that are literally designed to keep your emotions kind of bound to it. But even then, it's still your manifestation. It's not that those things don't exist, because everything exists. There's no such thing as non-existence, but we align ourselves to experience certain things based off of our resonance. Hey, Augusta, how you doing? It says tied to karma too, so I've been wary of what I intentionally manifest. Yes, most definitely, I most definitely agree with that. And hey, how do I spell your name? What do I call you? Isella. So let me know how y'all feel about this. Once again, the original question is like when you think of the word or the concept of manifestation, um, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? As I described earlier, you never stop manifesting. Everything in your life is a manifestation of your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your path, right? And there's a lot of different concepts around this that I want to touch on. And this is the perfect time to talk about it. And I feel like, there's never a bad time to talk about it. But with the full moon, and we got this powerful energy going on, everybody's in I'm sure everybody, and let me know how y'all feel about this, over the last week or so, going into this week, maybe a week and a half, that you've had huge shifts in your perspective in different things. There may be opportunities that have opened up. There may have been changes in relationships, right? This right now we're in a time of immense change and growth and evolution. So it's the perfect time to reframe your identity, to reframe your emotional attachments, your labeling of different things, so you can take advantage of this evolutionary curve that everybody's on. Now, if you are caught up in the system of things, right, in the matrix, so to say, in all the horrible things in the world, and that's your realm of influence, well, you're going to evolve and along those lines. But the beautiful thing is, even those aspects of life are evolving as well. So it's not this whole dualistic that everybody's getting separated and some people are getting damned to hell and other people are going into, these heaven realms, which may be happening, but even through the process of just natural evolution, even people who are stuck in the lower dualistic realms, everything is evolving in a positive sense in those realms, even though it may look like the opposite, and understanding manifestation and karma on that level is special. It's not a lot of people that view it like that and understand it like that. And let me know how y'all feel about this. Once again, we never stop manifesting. Whatever you're in resonance with, that's what you get. That's what you begin to manifest. Looking at the matrix of things and all the negative political stuff, and there's tons of it. It's like I'm trying to choose my words wisely. It's death everywhere. It's poverty in many places. It's cruelty. It's all these different things. So it's not to say that none of this stuff exists, but it's more so to say that you know a lot of that is a karma type of thing, and if you choose to be in those realms, right, then it's a choice. And the most powerful thing you can do if you choose to be a part of those realms is to choose to help the people who are suffering as they're in those realms. And typically we do that from a place of privilege of not actually being in those realms. But if you're tied to those, if you're tied to that thing, if you are putting your time and energy and effort into just attaching your emotions to those worldly negative aspects, then and you have no way to influence it in a positive way, then you're just wasting your time. You're just putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and creating your own chaos and negativity and viewing the world in this huge negative sense or whatever. And as you are blessed with the opportunity to, live life without being, bombed or anything, and then, unless you are actively doing that, then you're going to be manifesting, more chaos and more, destruction in your life, even though you may not be experiencing it firsthand. Right. I got a little bit off a topic, but it's the same thing. Once again, you never stop manifesting. You can manifest the higher, more beautiful experiences. You can manifest the lower, impoverished experiences, and whatever you do, is understand that your power that you have within it. And like I said, let me know how y'all feel about this. Like, let me know how y'all feel, because this is something I really want to kind of dive deep into, and especially the duality of things. Like, we'll get back to like actually, the proper ways to manifest, your reality and things you want to bring into your reality. But this dualistic aspect, this is what most people have trouble understanding, right? Even when it comes to religious concepts and ideas, when it comes to spiritual concepts and ideas and doctrine and paths and traditions and everything else, like a lot of people will dismiss Christianity. You're like, oh, where was God during slavery? Right? Where was God during this? Was genocide happening here or whatever? Like, where was, and they'll go into those realms where it's still part of the whole. And the way that you relate to it matters, because you can relate to it in a way that will benefit the whole and benefit the people who have to live through that and suffer through that. Or it's a way that, you can simply just invest your emotions into it and it can bring you down completely. It's kind of like the same concept. I mean, we won't go extreme, but, I talk about, poverty a lot. You know, I was homeless before in my 20s, in my early, when I was 19, 20, I stayed in a homeless shelter for like a year. And, being there, I got to understand homelessness on a much deeper level. I met him. I have a lot of friends that were homeless, obviously. I've seen people that were on the streets, people that stayed in the shelter and everything else, and like how it functions. grew up, impoverished and grew up in the hood, and all my friends were, relatively poor, right? So I know poverty very, very well. Now, how do you help somebody that's impoverished, right? Do you look at people that live in those situations, in those environments, right? That's living through that. Do you look at them, oh, poor you, it's so horrible, and attach yourself to it in that way? Do you think that, oh, let me provide meals, for these people, and that's going to help them get out of poverty? Do you think that giving impoverished people money, if that's a way that will help people come up out of poverty? What let me know, how y'all feel about this? Like, what do you think would help in that situation? I have an answer, but I just want to know how you guys feel. Feel free to drop it in the comments. Since my dad chose to be homeless most of my life too. Yeah. Yeah, for me it was like 10 months, 10, 11 months. Did I have to be there? Probably not, but I something that I kind of had to do for multiple reasons. But once again, let me know how you feel about this. How do you help somebody that's living through poverty? You can't tell the person that's impoverished, oh, it's just karma, or oh, you're manifesting this, right? And so, how do you help that person? You know, and you can think about this, if you're the impoverished person, how do you think that, somebody will be able to help you? Like, honestly, how somebody would be able to help you. Give somebody a job and they have no skills. You just throw money at them. Do you throw food at them? Like, how do you help somebody that's in that place, in that state of consciousness? Because that's what it is. It's not a disease. It's not a it's not like what most people, how most people tend to relate to it. It's a state of consciousness, like everything else. So since y'all not answering me, then I would always just hug him and give him food when I see him. It was heartbreaking. Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, I have plenty of friends that were, homeless. Like I said, I stayed in a homeless shelter for almost a year. It's funny because even thinking back, I'm thinking about we stayed in these dorms. It was like 44 men in one dorm, and it was like 4 or 5 dorms. It was actually a pretty big place, one of the most like biggest homeless shelters in the U.S. But my bunkie, his name was Rick Nance. He had narcolepsy. It was a cool, older dude or whatever, and you would just see him like out in public and like walking around the center, and he'll just be like knocked out somewhere. He'll talk to you, and then just like not. Anyway, back on topic. So, all right, so apply this principle to other things. So the only way that you can get somebody out of poverty consciousness and in a way that is meaningful and lasting and beneficial is to change their identity. People identify with being impoverished and they may not see it or understand it, but we develop habits, concepts, ideas, emotional attachments. People that live in poverty consciousness often have a really horrible self-image, right? And some type of inferiority complex. They may feel like they're not good enough or they're not deserving, right? It's very rare that somebody is just homeless because they're just in a bad spot or anything like that. That rarely happens. The most of the people, it's either substances, or that's the number one thing is substances. But people who are just in poverty consciousness in general, it's because once again their identity, they identify with things that are part of being impoverished. That's what they identify with. They don't identify themselves as like, oh, I'm this person and I'm experiencing this. I'm going to move beyond this or develop this type of skill or get out of this attachment. They identify with poverty itself. Hey, Makita, how you doing? What up, Barter Dash? What's up? Just some of the brightest minds on there for homeless, struggling, don't have access to tools. Yeah. Um, Yeah, and like I said, for most of the people that I've met and have known, especially being here in California, but when I actually lived in a homeless shelter, most people had addiction issues, and it's very rare that they're just like they don't have the intelligence enough. But most of it is an addiction thing. But people who aren't exactly homeless and just living in poverty and they actually have a home, but not a lot of money or skills or like a great job and things like that, most of those people, once again, they identify with the struggle. They identify this is me. Their identity is bound to the struggle. Go to the hood. A lot of people are kind of proud to be poor. Primarily because of music and all the brainwashing stuff that was there. But it's a literal thing. It's a state of consciousness. Once the prison system and the let me let me word this properly. Maybe this is my attachment. It is my understanding of the music industry and the people who have ran the music industry and wrote all the contracts to all that we've talked about this before. And how the prison systems would literally put it in the contracts for it to seem cool to be poor and destructive and all the crazy craziness. It's okay to say you're going to unalive all your people and then this and that, but the moment you say something about a certain group of people that's not you, right, then you'll get blackballed, and it's this huge issue. But you can say you're going to unalive everybody else, so all the substances to everybody, including your mama and everybody else is bees and and everything else in the world, right? But it's a level of consciousness, right? It's a level of consciousness, and when this comes to manifestation, the frequency of your mind is what you frequently focus on. Your ideals, your attachments, and people are overly attached to being impoverished, and they don't see it or understand it. Like, I come from it, so I get it. It's not this savior complex or anything like that. Like, I'm from the hood. I grew up eating the applesauce without the picture on it and the block cheese before Velveeta came out. Y'all know they charging y'all $8 for government cheese. Just want to let y'all know that. um, but the consciousness of it's cool to not have a lot. It's cool to deal substances to your people, to look down upon other people. And once somebody said, like, rep your hood and everything else, and the hood that you don't even own, by the way, by design, right? It's a state of consciousness. Now, we can apply this just not to poverty. We can also apply this to, is where you are. Even people that are, on a higher level financially. You have your house, you have your job, you have all these things going on for you. But what are you overly identifying with that may be keeping you where you're at? Right? And there's levels to it, and everybody has this. Like, literally everybody has this, and there's nobody out there that thinks, I would like to be here. I want to attain this. I want to experience this. Right? The only thing that's stopping you from manifesting that is what? It's your identity. It's your own self image. Right? Now, the crazy thing about manifestation is that when we think about the word and the concept of manifestation, most people go into material things. I want to manifest a car. I want to manifest a house. I want to manifest, all these things that, don't matter. Literally none of it matters. But that's probably the stupidest thing or way to manifest anything. Oh, I want this physical thing. I want this material thing that won't last, that's not going, I want this car, but I might smash into a wall one day, or somebody might run into me and it's over. Speaking of that, I sold my Volvo convertible, and dude had it for like a month and a half, and he wrecked it already. Should have kept that. You know, so I want to manifest stability. That's what's up. That's definitely what's up. What are some of your manifestations? You know, let me know what things would you like to manifest. You know, I'm already, you know, you should have a type of because of the context of what I just said, like a deeper idea of better things to manifest other than cars and clothes and money and all the superficial mundane things, you know. They haven't seen you. Nice to see you. What up, Nikki? Still happiness? So I was rear-ended 2 days ago. So when it comes to manifestation, so I agree, but I'm not limiting, magnetizing physical abundance. I love luxury. So this is the thing: manifesting just money and just abundance and things like that. That's a limitation. Now, the greatest thing that you can manifest, right? The greatest thing that you can manifest is the proper identity and self image that will always bring that, right? You want to embody, a being in which that you always have that mentally, actually, physically, financially, emotionally, right? Because you can manifest a car. Okay, cool. The car gonna be gone. But if you manifest the skills, the awareness, right, the network, right, and everything else that goes along with it, in which you can buy 20 of them, then you will never drop down into lower levels of being. But trying to manifest physical things is stupid. It's stupid because for the same time, right? For the same time and effort and energy, you can develop the ability of oh, my identity is somebody who is never lacking and always seeing opportunities, always seeing the positive side of things, and not allowing external forces and external projections and belief structures and things in the system and society and all that stuff to let me down. All right. I'm focused. I am I am strategic and efficient in my actions and my thoughts, right? And developing that identity and personality is one of the greatest things that you could possibly manifest. Stop manifesting physical stuff. It's stupid. You know, limitless dream weaving. Yeah. He said, let's do food for the people that are truly affected by the government shutdown, folks on SNAP. Now, there are, food programs everywhere, like lots of them, pretty much everywhere. Man, I don't think it'll be shut down for too much longer, but I'm not getting into politics at all. So I manifest owning multiple lucrative businesses that create the reasons I can travel the world. And that's amazing. That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. So one of the things that one of my manifestations, I've been saying this for a while, and I'm just now to the point in which everything is growing and hitting a certain critical mass in which it is my reality. Now, understand when you go through this, and we'll do a practice. We may do a meditation too, if you guys are with me. If we can make it up, I'm gonna do this like it's 11:11 right now. If we can make it to 50,000, so 10 times what we got, which should be pretty easy. Y'all can do that 10 times. 50,000 likes and some engagement. Then we'll do this manifestation. This manifestation meditation that will be absolutely amazing. Um, Absolutely amazing. So one of the things about what we want to manifest and achieving and attaining the things that we desire is that everything's not just instant. Even your instant manifestations, you are changed in that moment. Remember, you are exactly who and what you say you are, right? At every given moment, your identity is important. It matters. That matters. One of the most amazing things about reality is you are exactly who and what you say you are at every given moment. So a great self-image and identity is something that is priceless. Now, with that being said, the moment you decide that this is who I am, this is what I am manifesting right now, right here in the now moment. Now, in order for that thing to reach you, even though it's manifesting right here and right now, there's a causation chain. It's a process. It's something that has to happen in order for you to reach that. Now, when we are manifesting physical things and blessings and miracles and stuff like that, they will always come through the hands of somebody else. So if you're closed off and it's just me, yeah, peace out, I guess. Have a good night. If you're closed off and once again, it's just me, and that's it. Well, you're cutting off all your blessings and manifestation because, you don't have that network. You don't have those bridges open for that thing to really reach you because you're closed off. So your blessings and most of your manifestations will come through the experiences and through the hands of other people as well. So that's an important aspect to it. You know, that's a very, very, very important aspect to it. But it also matters because, with this whole looking at our personality and developing a powerful identity, a powerful self image in order to, attain, a really high level of being and success and a fulfilling physical, not just physical, but also astral, emotional, and mental, reality. You have to go from where you're at to that manifestation, right? There's a change that has to happen as you're vibrating in and out of the Akasha, right? If you stay focused on, boom, this is my manifestation, this is who I am right here, right now. Every time you vibrate in and out of the Akasha, you're literally evolving to that thing. You are that thing. You have to embody that thing. You have to build that energy. And every time that you vibrate in and out of emptiness, you come back different, albeit is a little bit different each time, but you literally begin to vibrate at that frequency. And the more that you pay attention to it, the more you embody it, like I said, it hits a type of critical mass. And then before you know it, this is your reality. But if you pay attention to all the negative stuff and the negative projections of society and your own self-image, if you don't feel like you can acquire certain things, right? If you don't have that image, then you're going to do things that are opposed to it, that are a complete contradiction to the things that you say that you're going to manifest. Right. So it's important to look at these concepts and ideas, right? Everything has to be in alignment mentally, right? You have to think this is exactly who I am right here, right now. Astrally, you have to know it. You have to feel it. You have to act accordingly as well. So it's the mental, astral, and physical. You have to align the three bodies in order for you to manifest anything whatsoever. Now, one of the most important things is your subconscious belief structures. You can say you want this, but it's a part of you that, you really don't believe it. Or it's a part of you, especially when it comes to wealth and money and things like that. Man, most people got so many jacked up relationships with money and abundance and everything else. How could you ever say, oh, I want to manifest abundance, but you have resentment towards anybody who has more money than you? See somebody ride around a nice car, and you're like, oh, this motherfucker, and you looking like Scrooge as they ride by, right? And then just having that towards anybody simply because they have that level. Seriously, you will never achieve that. You will never ever achieve that. It's so funny. The views are going down. I just pissed some people off. They felt threatened. It was like 4 or 5 people that was like, nah. But seriously, we have a lot of subconscious resistance, and it shows up in many different ways. In many, many, many different ways. So knowing yourself and knowing your thoughts, feelings, your actions, knowing, all these belief structures, they manifest through you. And once again, your self image and your identity, this is what causes your karmic stream. It's what causes your karmic stream. If you say to everybody every day, oh, I'm clumsy. I'm really, really clumsy everywhere I go. And then you're telling people this, then you are going to do clumsy things no matter what. You're telling your subconscious, you're telling every single cell in your body, you're telling your environment, you're telling your people, and they're literally projecting that upon you too. Oh, that's so and so, they're so freaking clumsy. And like I said, there's nothing within your consciousness on any level to tell you otherwise. So you're going to align to that. You're going to live a clumsy life. You're going to be tripping all over stuff. You're going to be doing a lot of stupid stuff here and there, but it's not because you are truly clumsy. It's because that's what you identify as. That's your identity. And then you project that, and other people are a reflection of your projections. All right. And we create these things. This is a self-fulfilling prophecy. But your self-image and identity could be anything you want it to be. Anything. Anything. He says, I identify as graceful for sure. For sure. So I release all my opposing subconscious thought patterns on this powerful full moon. That is an amazing affirmation. It says, I am free, I am healthy, I'm wealthy, I am love, I am joy, I am that I am. That is amazing. What up, Opie? Obi-Wan tube. So I think understanding what causes poverty is most important. You can't fix it unless you understand what causes it. I hope you are still in here because we're gonna talk about this. we going back. We're gonna rewind this just a little bit. I want y'all to let me know what causes poverty. I really want y'all to. Let's talk about this because there's so many different levels to this. We can talk about systemic poverty, systemic racism. We can talk about the roots of the U.S. and everything else. But to me, that don't matter. None of that matters whatsoever. Does it affect some people? Yes, but it's because they submit themselves to it. And I'm coming from somebody who, like I said, I'm from the hood. I'm from the ghetto. Like my daddy was a crackhead. My friends grew up poor. Like single parent households. My whole neighborhood I grew up in, most of the houses ain't even there no more. They're just fields now. So you don't want to talk about being in poverty. All my aunties and stuff had roaches. And I used to cry when my granny would drop me off over there. I had weapons pulled on me from the time I was 2 until shoot, I left South Bend when I was like 18, 19. You know, so when it comes to poverty, this is something I know a lot about, and a lot of people will say, well, there's a system out there, and then it's stacked up against everybody so they can't succeed and everything else. And to a degree, that's true on a level. I'm not going to say, oh, it's not, people out there that do a certain thing, but that's not what causes poverty. Are the city designed in a certain way in order to separate the classes so we keep people over here kind of dumb and put the liquor stores and and the substances over there? Yeah, that happens. So not denying that. It's not what causes poverty. It's what causes alcoholism and addiction, but not poverty. It's a thing. you know um Despite all of these different things that's out there, we can also say, on the other hand, oh, in those same areas, there's programs, there's entrepreneurs, there's chamber of commerce, it's all these different things. There's schools, there's all these other things that also work for everybody's benefit. There's capitalism. I'm not opposed to capitalism. There's positive and negatives to capitalism, because we live in a capitalist society. Somebody that grows up dirt poor in the hood can grow up to be a billionaire. This is why people leave other countries with the hope to come here after they literally move from their shack and scrounge up enough money to come here and be poor and then build their business so they can get out of poverty, leaving their impoverished third world country. A lot of those countries I love to be in. But what causes poverty? Let me know. Like, I really want to know what causes poverty, and it doesn't, it goes back to me it goes back to in my mind, and feel free to share your thoughts. It's still a level of consciousness. Poverty is a state of mind, because there are quadriplegics out there that drive vehicles and have jobs, right? There are millionaires that are stupid. I mean, like 70 IQ. There are like all these different things. Like I said, I'm from the hood. I got friends that 40 live with their mama still, and they're not really my friends anymore. But it's a thing. you know, and being in that environment and growing up with people who um, are in those environments and situations, or it's a state of consciousness, and they are mental slaves to one thing or another, mostly their own identity. And the best way that we can help somebody get out of poverty is to, to liberate their minds, to liberate their minds, and the concept and idea that, one, it's cool to be poor or something to be proud of, or that you need to represent your hood or block, or that, that's white people stuff, and then that whole thing, that's all the things that are tied to poverty consciousness, victim mentality. And that's something that it's that doesn't come from a system, that comes from just the consciousness, you know and like I said, this is a really touchy subject, and then like I said, we're going up and down the realms, for sure. As people don't realize that they're their worst enemy. Yeah, I mean, you want something, right? In today's world, this applies to everybody. In what ways are you impoverished? In what ways do you express poverty consciousness? And I mean this. There's things that are tied to every level of consciousness. There's karma that comes with everything that you identify with and as and have a belief structure for. In what ways do you have that as well? Once again, looking at other people who have it, right? Um, are you resentful for them, towards them? Do you think you can have it? All right. If there's any negative attachment to it, it's a part of you that says, I don't deserve that. And nothing in you will try to get that. Right. If you separate yourself, do you believe that, oh, there's a system that's fighting against you and that you will never attain it because it's all these racist people that won't allow you to elevate? That's victim mentality. That's literally saying that you have no control or free will or anything like that. You have no control over your consciousness. You give your power away to something that is, you know, not really real. And I have all the right to say this. I come from South Bend, Indiana. I lived in Elkhart, Indiana. Osceola, right between the two, is Clanville. The KKK compound is there. David Duke lived there. Like the literal leaders of the Klan, all there. They are the judges. They are the police officers. They are the people that own all the businesses, all the major businesses that employ everybody. Like some of the most racist people ever. And never had a problem getting a job, never had a problem going to school. Yes, I got, harassed by the police and stuff growing up and that thing, but there was nothing that was stopping me from still living my life and elevating and getting out of that situation other than, the concept of idea of, oh, I can't do that. There's these people and they're just going to hold me down, which is not real. It's literally not real. It's just it's a cop out. And then in my experience, but a lot of people don't understand that. They don't see that because there's not too many people that can teach them that, in that situation. And the people who do, it's kind of part of that consciousness to not, look at them as somebody to aspire to. But there's also karma that comes with coming up in that environment. Some people need to get the lessons from that level. It doesn't mean that they're always going to be on that level. Like, I grew up poor. I grew up in poor environments. I've always been a hustler, you know. But it's a thing, and once again, when it comes to like the spiritual levels of everything or whatever, like everything exists for a reason. Some people meant to go through, poverty for a while so they can get to develop their own, positive self-image and everything else, and emotional aspects of growing their spirit. And that's just the level they're at in this lifetime. Some people are literally, I've stayed in Sri Lanka for a while. The most heartbreaking thing about being in Sri Lanka is, one, the colonization and all the colorism and British racism that has been that's a really big part of it too, and that had a huge influence on the civil war that happened there as well. But there's also still tea slaves, which were brought there by the British, right? And yes, it's some people's karma that's the life that they're going to live, and I pray that they're able to get out of that. If I can help them in any way and bless them, I will, and I have. And Karma is kind of crazy. It is really, really crazy, and it's up to, the people who aren't stuck in that to give a helping hand and do what they can to bless those people, but also not to stick to those things and to put themselves down on that level, because then you will be manifesting that reality for yourself as well. You know, so it's this balance that needs to happen, because we are all playing out our karmic stories, you know. And like I said, let me know how y'all feel about this. What up, Mama T808 says, I've been a great giver. I Now, for the first time, I'm going to be a great receiver. That's beautiful. I love that. Absolutely love that. Been through domestic violence and neglect and abuse, broken and poor, but not dead. I will prevail. That's powerful. That's really, really beautiful. Makita says, "What about witchcraft? In what way? What is witchcraft?" This is something I want to talk about, like when and like what is witchcraft? Because there's all types of weird magical stuff out there. There's a lot of powerful magical stuff out there. In your mind, and your relationship to it, what is witchcraft? So I'm gonna pause for a second and do my promotion. Welcome everybody. um, If it's your first time here, to hit the follow button. If you don't know who I am, my name is RJ, aligned to your highest. We're just talking about, manifestation and just karma and some of the dualistic stuff, which is, some of that stuff needs to be talked about for sure. But traditionally, I teach Hermetic alchemy, Hermetic magic, self mastery practices, how to train your psychic abilities, your clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, how to train your mental transference and put your mind in different spaces, realms, and energies, and invoke that light and reprogram your DNA and purify your astral body and train your spirit, your mind to develop mental, spiritual strength. And it's really, really powerful. How do you train your intuition, and then understand what type of knowledge and light to cultivate that will last you many lifetimes. And it's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. And this is what I do. And right now we're talking about, poverty and and manifestation, because it's something that needs to be talked about, and um, a lot of people have a lot of interesting relationships to it. And remember, life is infinite. Reality is infinite. There's not just one thing. There's not just like one way to relate to it or one way to experience it. It's not just one truth. There's many different truths on many different levels. But your relationship to it and your label, the way that you attach yourself to it or lack thereof, it matters. And this is what steers your karma and what you manifest into your life. Says life can be beautiful. Life is beautiful. Life is absolutely amazing. Life is perfect. And I mean that. And in every way possible, life is perfect. And whatever you're experiencing, whatever is a big part of your reality, just know that you are a vibrational match to it. And if you weren't, then you wouldn't be experiencing it. And, if you're experiencing something that is undesirable, well, what part of that do you resonate with? If you're in an abusive relationship or anything, what part of you feels like you need to stay in it, or you can't do better, or that you're not willing to take the steps to liberate yourself of it, you're just going to stay in it. It's a thing. There's still nothing external to you that is ruling over you in a sense, outside of our own ability to subject ourselves to the undesirable things. Unless you're a child, if you you can do whatever you need to do to get to where you want to go. It may seem daunting, it may seem hard, but it's just fear. And facing our fears is God's way of letting us know, that if we're ready or not. Because the things that we're afraid of never turn out the way that we believe they're going to turn out. Not even remotely close. But once you face that fear, you will go and elevate to a whole new level. Guaranteed. It's the fear that stops people from making change and leveling up in life. you know So just want to put that out there. And whatever you're experiencing, like I said, if it's something undesirable, are you willing to do what you need to do to elevate it and release it? Or are you going to subject yourself to it and say, oh, I'm a victim of this and this is just my reality and just my life? I suggest for everybody and strongly, encourage you to make those changes and to know that you can. You are limitless. Don't limit yourself. You are literally a vibrational match to the universal mind, which is infinite. So any identity you place yourself upon or place upon yourself is going to strongly diminish your true nature. So don't do that. Step into your infinite nature and embrace it. And embracing the unknown. We're talking about manifestation too. Embracing the unknown and taking those steps into the unknown is what liberates you for sure. Because you'll experience things that are outside of your frame of reference, your past experiences, and it will open up new horizons. So always be willing to change. Never be afraid of change, and I mean in every way possible, in relationships and environments, in jobs, people. I've worked in warehouses through the lesser half of my adulthood. And, I work with people that've been there for 40 years and in the same warehouse for 30, 40 years, still got to ask for, can I get 2 weeks off? And, the main thing that keeps a lot of people there is just, being comfortable and afraid to make a change. And then for everybody, wherever you're at, if you're in a position, in a job, once again, a relationship, and anything that does not serve you, does not bring you fulfillment, that you strongly despise going into or experiencing, then I strongly suggest you take the steps to make a change, because you can't do nothing but evolve unless you, you know, still just attach yourself to that thing. And many people do that because they're afraid of what can happen. I'm more afraid of completely still being, hating my job and my life every day. I'm doing something I strongly don't want to do, and then many people kind of fall into that. And one of the things that comes along with this too, and then I haven't forgot about you, Makita. I'm gonna answer your question. One of the things that when it comes to manifesting is, we have this divine abundance, right? Well, this is why your identity matters. The things you identify as, the things you identify with, the labels of different things. Um, you know, Outside of what you experience firsthand, nothing is real. Nothing, not a concept, an idea, other people's experiences, what people tell you, none of it's real. And outside of what you have experienced firsthand, it can be whatever you want it to be, right? So the way that you formulate your reality and your relationships, you can change it. You know, Looking at nature, looking at, around you, every other creature, you know, alive, they come in the world with everything that they need. They have this divine abundance, right? It's there. It's all there. And the same thing applies to us. And people are going to say, but there's taxes and there's bills and there's this and that or whatever. I'm talking about that stuff too. If you think that God will provide for the foxes, but not for you, then that's just your belief structure. You cut that off. There isn't, there's no bridge for that. I gotta work really, really hard to do that. And it's an identity. It's a concept. It's a manifestation of your reality. And most people don't recognize their power, and how they create, really profoundly deep manifestations based off their belief structures. It's their vibration, yeah. And once again, we have this universal bank account or this universal cosmic trust fund, and we can get withdrawals out of. But just like a trust fund in any other sense, it's like, okay, you have to be ready for that distribution to come out. Okay, cool. You get married. Oh, here goes some more. Here you go. You have a couple kids. Oh, here goes some more out of this cosmic trust fund, right? The same thing applies to life, and if you don't know there's a trust fund, if you're not open to receiving that, if you have all those doors closed, then you can't take advantage of it. But simply for everybody in here, us talking about this, you start making withdrawals. Start making withdrawals when it comes to your divine abundance, because you can't. You it's there, but you have to consciously, you can go into prayer, let me take a withdrawal from my cosmic bank account, you know, and it's there. And the more that you can see how it works, and the more you allow your heart to be open to your abundance coming from any which direction, not just from, it can only come from my job, or it can only come from this one thing, and you close yourself off to the infinite amount of possibilities in which your abundance can, come to you. Um, then you won't be able to take advantage of it unless you're open to it. So let me know how y'all feel about this. And there's many, you know, one of the greatest times in spiritual literature is the New Thought movement, right? So late 1800s into 1940s, 1950s, even a little bit further than that. This is New Thought, right? New Thought, and it's not New Thought in the sense like um trying to think how it's New Thought in the sense of changing your thoughts, literally manifesting your reality through changing your thoughts. It's the New Thought movement, and this knowledge comes from Freemasonry, from the Theosophists, from even the Christian metaphysicians, right? And this is like well known knowledge that has been passed down even hundreds of years and thousands of years before that. But there was says new thought, but not new knowledge. Exactly. Exactly. Brighter than 7777. Good night to you too. um, it's not new knowledge, but it's new thought. So changing your thoughts, changing your identity, changing your worldview will change your reality. But it's a reflection of you, and in every way possible. So my adopted dad only ever called me princess, and all my wants and needs were always met aligning back. See, and that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. So once again, I'm almost with subjects in a second, but call forth your divine abundance. Take those withdrawals from your cosmic bank account, and take advantage of it. And once you see how it works, and you allow yourself to receive from any which direction, even if you don't see that bridge being built, it'll come, in some of the most miraculous, amazing ways. But you have to identify with that. You have to, you know, release yourself of the anxiety, of the, fear of lack, of not having, right? Because if you are overly attached to that, well, as your abundance is coming, you fear that it's not. So then you'll do something stupid. You'll do something you don't need to do. You'll go get a freaking, I don't know, cash advance loan, or pawn your stuff, or do something that you don't need to do. you know, and this is what causes our negative karma. Doing anything from the lower emotions, once again, fear, anger, greed, resentment, anxiety, like nothing comes good comes from that at all. Anything that you do and those emotions are the basis of it, well, that's what's going to reverberate back to you. That's the energy that you put into whatever it is that you're doing. But if you do what you're doing out of faith, out of love, out of, all the higher frequencies, and guess what? That's going to reverberate back to you. So never act out of those lower levels, and then you'll be put in a really high position to receive your divine abundance, and it's beautiful. But anyway, we can talk about something different. How y'all doing? How are y'all dealing with the full moon? The energy been real crazy lately. It's been super heavy. I know for a fact that with all the people in here, that some of y'all have been extra tired, because there's been a lot of solar flares, and just really deep integrating of all these different frequencies and lessons, and changing our psychology and everything. Um, y'all good out there? Princess says I've been up. That's what's up. Daylight savings too. Yeah, so it's wow. Yeah, it's been super crazy, but it's been beautiful too. One of the things I want to talk about is that we talked about this in our Kabbalah session. Is paying attention to the cosmic synchronicities, like the energy that's going on, especially with the holidays and the Gregorian calendar and stuff like that. There are certain times in which people are celebrating and doing certain rituals and things like that that will bring nothing but sadness and heartache and then poverty and everything else. And that's why November they always do the elections and stuff like that because it's a very powerful time to manifest. And people who are in those realms, they begin to manifest all the negative stuff and all the dualism and duality and then all the different stuff that's all in the hell realms, right? So being aware of how the traditional system functions and where you're at in time and space and the moon cycles and everything else, you can navigate accordingly. Like say right now we're the full moon, it's like Samhain and then Halloween and all this other energetic stuff going on. There's things that you can do that will increase your abundance and happiness and free will and liberation and everything else. And there's things that will, you know, bring you down. So, once again, and get out of the dualistic realms. You can dwell in them if you please, but get out of dualistic realms because it's bad down there. What up, Group Seven frequency? What the heck, Group Seven frequency? Are we still on that? For them kids didn't get the memo about sleeping in. uh, Venus 007, what is up? So we gonna switch this again. So I got some questions for y'all. I got some really deep questions for everybody. So, you know, once again, for those of you that's with me, I'm gonna reintroduce myself. My name is RJ. If this is your first time with me, let me know. Let me know where you're from. I am in very beautiful Southern California. Um, I love it here, but I dislike a lot of stuff about it. Not the people, not the the abuses and stuff that goes on, or the Hollywood or anything like that. Primarily because it doesn't rain where I'm at, and for most people, they're like, "That's amazing! It never rains in Southern California." No, I love a nice thunderstorm. I love, I'm from Northern Indiana, so it's tornadoes and stuff all the time. I love sitting outside when it's a funnel cloud forming and the energy is just completely calm. You can smell the rain coming, and like we don't get that. It rains here maybe 6 days a year in the desert, and like it like at all. It says we got the rain here in Seattle. Yeah, it's always cloudy there, and overcast and rainy. Um, it says Natasha's. I thought the Group Seven stuff was for energy harvest. Um, I don't know. I didn't go into those realms. I saw it and was like, "Yep, I'm not getting into this." So you should live in Florida. That's a good combo. I don't know about Florida either because the whole meme. If you search Florida man and just allow the auto thing to fill it up is always something crazy. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think if I choose to live anywhere, like my next move to actually like stay, it'll probably be another country. It probably wouldn't be anywhere in the U.S. I mean, I'm looking at getting a couple different spots, but my permanent like residence is most definitely not going to be here. I haven't found the place here that I truly just love and want myself there. Says Japan would be fine. Actually. My buddy Milo, he was just looking for a house in Japan. I still haven't been to Japan. When I was in Sri Lanka, I talked to Sifu Mark, and I was going to go there and visit him. But we started shooting the documentary, and then when I left after shooting the documentary, I only had a couple days to make it back to California because we had our Sagadala trip, so I never made it. But I'm still going to go there and see him in Koyasan. Says Atlanta, GA is a place, a real cool place to live. I lived on the east side, Zone 6, Boulder Crest. And I love Atlanta. Atlanta was amazing. I absolutely love Atlanta. I haven't been there in a while, but Atlanta is super cool. I actually wanted to explore around there because when I lived there, I wasn't in this type of awareness. And there's so many magical places there, like Stone Mountain. There's all types of like really powerful places there that people don't really talk about. But these places are everywhere, and talking about like different places to stay. The main thing that I'm doing this year, starting in January, is we are going to go to different states, different countries, and document some of the places of power because there's so many powerful places everywhere, that people don't really talk about, especially here in the US, and I think that the US gets overlooked probably more than a lot of these other places because once again, this is one of the most powerful lands in the entire world. That's why we've been in power for so long. And there's civilizations that have been here for hundreds of thousands of years, if not millions of years. Some of these you go to Sedona and it's these huge structures and mountains and rocks and stuff like that. Have you ever seen something that has eroded or been destroyed over, thousands of years? It's there. We have some of the oldest civilizations here, but they never tell you that. They never talk about it. Most of what we hear about, the Americas, well, North America. Started 400, 500 years ago, and there's nobody's really here to tell the stories and investigating and even just going to some of these powerful places so people can know about it and enjoy the energy that's there. I often talk about Sedona, one of my favorite places, super duper magical, and the spirit there is so powerful. Just being in that energy is life changing. But that's not the only place. There's probably thousands of other places, not just in the US, but all over the world. So starting January, me and Jonah, Book of Jonah, we are going to go to, starting with Mexico. We're looking at going to, let me see. I'm gonna look at this list real quick, and if you guys have any other places in mind or suggestions, the places I should check out, let me know. So let me look here. Natasha, I know that you are in the UK. I don't know many places in the UK to check out, but I would love some suggestions. All right, so places we're looking at right now. In January, once again, we are going to Mexico to Tepoztlan. Once again, Louis Farrakhan was there and saw a UFO. Right, and had a vision. He went up on a UFO, and Elijah Muhammad, gave him some information and everything, and it all turned out to be true. There's been plenty of UFO sightings there. The temple of the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon, they're in that same area. Super powerful. Ethiopia. I'm most definitely going to Ethiopia. It's the only uncolonized country in Africa. They have their traditional religion, and then everything else has been there for a very, very long time. So going there, Peru, back to Sri Lanka again, Turkey. Turkey's an interesting one. And like I said, the UK. I most definitely want to check out the UK, but I don't know where. Ireland for sure. So this is a simulation. Yeah, of course it is. Says I got to tag along. Like I said, if you got some skills, we need. I need a cameraman because I'm sick of going around with my camera and everything else. I want to hand it off to somebody else. I want to be in the footage too. So that'll be great. I'm going to share what I shot so far for the trailer and stuff for the documentary. Because that's actually really really beautiful. We had a camera crew with us the entire time. It's like four or five people in the camera crew, and that was good because I didn't have to film anything. um, and it says, "What was that book you recommended about brown people always being in America and paper genocide?" Um, there are several different books. So there's one book that was published in, I want to say 1670. It's called America, the latest and most accurate description of its inhabitants, plant life. It's a really specific title. It gets really, really deep. But yeah, it's literally called America, the latest and most accurate description of it. It's a very long title. That's one. And in that book, one of the things that's really special about it, once again, it was published in like 1670 in London, and they have a lot of descriptions of the indigenous people that they came across when they got here. And you were talking about Florida earlier. This is a synchronicity, right? You talk about going to Florida. Matter of fact, this is one of the things I'm go deep on is in Florida, um, the Seminoles were just like me, same color. The king of Florida was looked just like me. Hair a little bit longer. Just as curly. And this is something that people don't really talk about. Even when we talk about Queen Khalifa and the Khalifan Indians and natives and stuff around here and all. There's all types of different tribes and stuff. A lot of the natives that are um, still around. Remember that when America was colonized, there was millions and millions of people already here. And, most people, throughout history, when somebody wants to rule any nation or anything like that, and they get into slavery, they don't bring people into the country. They turn those people into slaves. Like for the most part, or if they bring somebody, they're not bringing them from a 2 month journey throughout over the ocean. But a lot of the people who ended up being slaves here, they were already here. And this is like this is well known in most circles, not within the public, government school system, because why would they, tell you, the truth about anything outside of what you should know or what they want you to know? I strongly suggest that y'all look this up. As always, don't just take anything, as golden, but look it up. It's lots of really interesting information. Study what a $5 Indian is, the five civilized tribes, and then who they were. Look up Creek and Blackfoot natives. Look up Martin Luther King and him being Blackfoot, and so was Coretta. Even look up Martin Luther King never saying anybody or whatsoever, and never saying that he was from Africa or African American, or the fact that African American wasn't even a term until the 1960s, or that most of your black leaders are literally COINTELPRO, PSYOP, CIA agents. Most of your African American institutions and fraternities and everything else, all government, pushed. It's all, how do you disenfranchise people and then brainwash people into thinking that, it is one way and it's not. And these things exist. I typically don't go into these realms because, it is what it is. But the history of this place is a lot crazier than what they talk about and what they share. And let me know how y'all feel about this. Y'all awfully quiet. This is interesting. We were talking about manifestation when they were all about manifest destiny. Yeah, What's crazy is, with this is yes, what's crazy is when it comes to like these types of concepts and ideas, we manifest their reality, right? And this is when we go to those lower, like I said, the dualistic realms is like literally the on that level, the system is designed for you to manifest whatever it is they want you to manifest. It's all by design, right? And if you want to really put a glitch in the system, and yes, I spent a lot of time with Jonah. The glitch in the matrix. If you want to really put a glitch in the system, stop, stop, put your phone down. Just live life. Literally, stop getting your information from outside sources, from the news, from the media. Stop allowing people to tell you what's important. Stop allowing, trends and algorithms and even your favorite influencers to say, "Oh, you need to pay attention to this," and then put your energy and stuff into this because you just manifest more of that. And most of it's not real. And I promise you, most of it is not real. And if you didn't know the majority of it, your life would be 10 times more fulfilling and beautiful instead of manifesting more of that thing in which they are trying to draw your consciousness to so they can harvest your energy to create that reality. And this is how it works. So I strongly suggest that, back in what 2015, I had been fixing cell phones and laptops and televisions and stuff in my free time. And I spent about a year and a half with just a flip phone. And it changed my life. Like it changed my life. Like while my family, they got iPhones and everything else. And I still have my computer and did a couple things. But when it came to my phone, I had a little flip phone. Gladly. And I just remember, being at work and coming out, for breaks and like even at breaks, people sit there on the table, some people smoking over there, and everybody just staring at their phone. Like it's people here. There's no real conversations going on. Everybody just staring. Kind of like a mosquito with the little little bug light too, getting zapped or whatever. Just slowly coming towards her. They're just staring at their phones, just getting brainwashed, meditating on this thing that's programming. Their concept of reality. It's programming what they pay attention to and the things that manifest into their reality. And this is a literal thing. This is a literal thing. How many of you guys right here, right now, have done 5 things that you saw on TikTok this week? Oh, that's a cool recipe. I want to do that. Oh, these people went here and they're promoting this. Oh, I need to go there. Oh, that's how it works. You literally are getting programmed into resonating with certain concepts, experiences, ideas, right? It's an algorithm and you are being programmed through the algorithm. It's a reciprocal thing. You help program the algorithm as the algorithm becomes better at programming you. you know? And it's important to pick and choose, what you find value in and what you allow yourself to resonate with. Now, the beautiful thing is, and I think Oracle did this, is when you go to your menu in TikTok, there's now an option in which you can reset your For You page. And I suggest that everybody does this. I suggest that everybody does this. So I'm going to show y'all. Boom. Let me see if I can get it to. Okay, I'm not reaching all the way to my camera. But if you go to your menu, go to settings and privacy, then go to content preferences. There is an option now where you can refresh your feed and you can pick and choose what you see within your For You page. There's even sliders in which you can go to the different types of subjects and topics and say, okay, I want more of this or less of this. So that's a positive. One of the things I've been talking about lately too is the whole technomancy thing and how, yeah, you can use technology to your advantage, right? The more you're aware of how you can program your mind through technology and what you pay attention to and through the algorithm and stuff, Well, if you're aware of it, well, you can also use it for your benefit. So you can choose to program yourself with things that will truly benefit you. If you got, a lot of weird stuff coming up on your FYP and then just nonsense and then things that um are filled with drama and chaos and gossip and things like that, I suggest you change it. You know, um, I barely scroll through Instagram. My whole Instagram is right now is calisthenics, kettlebell workouts, gyms, and jewelry, because that's one of the things I'm getting into, and primarily that, primarily that, and reprogram yourself, um, be really mindful of the information that you begin to resonate with. Because once again, this manifestation, whatever you pay attention to, whatever you identify with, whatever you are emotionally attached to, it's karma that's attached to it. It's concepts, ideas, there's astral things, there's subconscious belief structures that's tied to it. And, if you are not picking and choosing what these things are, then once again, you have no control over your destiny and what you experience. And this comes with the whole purification process of purifying your chi, purifying your soul. Um, because your astral emotional body, this is what creates your karma and the karmic stream of the people, places, things, and experiences that you resonate with and that you magnetize. So I strongly suggest that you write down in your journal or in your manifestations on your vision board or whatever that you are alchemizing everything that you consume, everything. That's a really good manifestation for the full moon is, that everything that I consume will work in my benefit. It will make me feel good, but it will also lead to very high positive outcomes, everything that I consume. And I say consume because that involves anything that enters into the gates of your consciousness, into your physical body, into your emotions, into your mind, into your heart. What are you consuming? We consume sound, we consume food, we consume entertainment, we consume music, right? We take on all this energy and information, all these different levels of consciousness. If you make it a precept, that you will only consume things that will truly benefit you. Then the way you navigate and the things that you begin to resonate with and that you begin to, focus on, it begins to change tremendously. But that has to be a strong intention, and you have to surrender to that concept and idea. But it's really valuable. It's really, really valuable to look at that. Once again, you know, it says the best advice you ever gave me was to journal. I'll tell you, it's powerful. Journaling is it's your doorway into your subconscious. Once again, when you journal something, you are crystallizing your thoughts, your intentions, your emotions into this physical realm as a placeholder. You're telling your subconscious mind that this is important to me, and it works. It's very, very powerful. It's why all the magicians and stuff have grimoires, because like one, you need to keep track of what you're experiencing and what you're doing, because if you don't, you're going to lose it. And it's a really powerful way to navigate through your life is through journaling. That will consume what will benefit me. So yes, love that. But yeah, so let me know how y'all feel about this. You know, um, it's really cool to once again be able to go up and down the scale. That's one thing that I've been really practicing lately. Is navigating up and down the vibrational scale, because a lot of people get into spiritualness or whatever, and then they like to separate themselves from the whole and say, I'm all love and light or holier than thou, and then look at anybody else that's not on that level, or hold those same ideology as lesser than them, or just completely separate from them. But one of the most powerful things is to be able to recognize that it's all one, and that it's necessary to be able to go up and down. Because up in the higher realms, it's certain things that you won't be able to manage on the lower realms. If you haven't had your foundation set and managed on the way up, then once you get up here, everything's just gonna fall. It's like a house of cards. And most people, stand on top of the house of cards, swinging kettlebells left and right. But you're That's so funny. Impartial observer. Just okay, man. Hello, impartial observer. That's a great and synchronistic name. It says, "Oh, that's where the people projecting beliefs has been coming from." Yeah, yeah. This is one of like the greatest gifts, and I'm really grateful that that I view it this way because it's been very useful in my own personal spiritual journey to, you know, be able to have very high level attainments, but also able to go down into the lower realms and do what I need to do and resonate with who I need to resonate with so we can connect and I can manage, the things I need to take care of and then go right back up there. Right. And everything is everything. Like I don't judge nobody. We're all just at different parts of the journey, and everybody will be one with the creator again. Everybody. You know, um, One of the most powerful things when it comes to this, though, is your ability to not attach yourself to the karma of other people. So when you engage with other people who are at different levels than you, whether they're levels above you in some circumstances and aspects, or levels below you in different circumstances and aspects, you know, allow them to be them. Why make judgment on what anybody says or does? Because everybody that's fighting the war believes they're on the right side. Everybody feels that they are justified in the way they think, the way they act, and the way they feel, and you too, right? But passing judgment or even having judgments on, other people is more so a reflection on you than it is of that person or that thing. And the more you can allow people to be them and accept them for them and be realistic with who they are, the less you're attached to it. And most things that we have resistance or aversions to when it comes to other people, once again, is a direct reflection of your own stuff, not theirs, you know? And it's a part of you that resonates with it. That's why you see that in them, because other people will, talk to that same person. They can say the same thing and they won't judge them based off of it. So it's a reflection of you and not the person itself. And the more that you can detach yourself from other people's stuff and allow people to be who and what they are and see them for who and what they are, then the more, you are just observing it and not attaching and allowing that to be a part of your own consciousness and reality. But any judgment that you place within anything or anybody, there's a part of you that resonates with it. And that's why you see it and make a judgment about it, because of your own astral emotional attachment, not exactly what that person's doing. So yeah. And let me know what y'all feel about this, because that's a really important thing. Allow people to be them. A lot of people got this fire element imbalance, and they want to control everybody and control what everybody doing, and you need to do it this way, you need to do it that way. You don't even know what's good for yourself. How you gonna tell somebody else what's good for them or how they need to fix it or anything like that? And like I said, this is when it comes to magic and alchemy, and people who are in the spiritual realms and stuff like that. Like, just because something changed your life don't mean that any is going to change somebody else's life. I mean, the deepest, most profound thing you could have found that completely changed the course of your life could unalive the next person. Or it could, it don't work that way. But trusting that people, that they are where they need to be. And when they're open to growing and evolving, or if they come to you, for insight or understanding, then that's when, they're open to receiving that input or that judgment, because they're asking you for it. You may be that bridge and that path to do it. But if you are just forcing it upon somebody, you're just creating chaos. You're creating more division. If you are just interjecting and saying, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to be like me, then that doesn't help anybody. That doesn't help anybody at all. You know, um, one of the things that kind of comes up with me even just saying this too is my favorite way to gauge when we are at fault with something is when somebody says something to you or about you, right? You're having a dispute, say it's with your partner, say it's with your your friends or something like that, and there's an argument going on. And within that argument, the greatest thing you could possibly do, and especially even if somebody is blaming something on you, this is your fault. You did this, and that, right? The greatest way to learn from those experiences and to elevate and unlock new levels of consciousness from it and insight from it is to recognize that if the shoe doesn't fit, who cares? Right? People go into, have arguments and disputes and never go into it to understand, right? Or to come to a resolution. And they just want to respond. They just want to be right about stuff, right? And most people that's their level of emotional intelligence. It doesn't solve anything, doesn't help anything. If you are in a dispute with somebody and your goal is not to come to a resolution or to understand, then it's pointless anyway. It's not going to end well. But if somebody is saying something to you and they're blaming you or expressing how they feel, number one, take yourself out of the situation. If they're explaining to you how they feel about a situation, even if they're blaming on you, take yourself out of that situation. And once again, I mean this as like, don't be super hurt by it when they address or like really take it to as a threat. Take it as constructive. But once again, if the shoe does not fit, let it go in one ear and out the other. You don't need to defend yourself. You don't need to, anything else. Because if it's not true, you can show by example, no, it's not true. If you feel like you need to defend it, then it's you. It's you always. It's never the other person. If you feel like you need to defend whatever that person is saying, if they say something to you and you're like, but I did this because nope, it's you. Oh, I did it because yep, it's you. That's why you did it. Oh, this is why, and you go and try to defend yourself. Literally, it's you. It's never the other person ever. And it takes a deep type of humility to recognize this, level headedness, mindfulness to be able to look at it this way. But I promise you, you will learn all types of things about yourself if you look at this process and this principle. Literally, if you feel like you need to defend yourself, ask yourself, what am I defending? Right? But if the shoe don't fit, let it go in one ear, not the other. And I promise you, your life will change very quickly. Very, very quickly. Says a level most aren't comfortable with. Yeah, but like I said, you want to unlock some some higher levels of emotional intelligence and relationships. That is an amazing thing. Have you had much experience with people with narcissistic personality traits? That's difficult. If you're in a relationship with a narcissist, odds are there's a part of you that's a narcissist as well, or else you wouldn't resonate with them. And that's a really hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. And we don't see it within ourselves when we're in it. And yes, it's easy to identify your partner who has narcissistic traits and stuff, but you're with them, and then and it's a part of you that completely resonates with that, or else you wouldn't be with them. And, a lot of people who are in narcissistic relationships, they're blaming the narcissist for all their problems. That's very narcissistic of you. Yeah, this is a conversation that a lot of y'all don't want to have. But you always speak amazing truths and facts that expand my perceptions. As relationships are mirrors for sure. Relationships are most definitely mirrors, And like I said, the water element aspect, I know the water element. That is my spot. That is my frequency for sure. And it's some of the hardest lessons to learn. The water element stuff is what helps boost us and change our perception of ourselves and our reality. And it's once again, that self image and then identity, what you identify as and how you view yourself and your reality, it's all water element stuff. And the more you can develop emotional intelligence and a good self image, the greater your reality will be. The higher outcomes you will have, the greater the frequency of the people that you surround yourself with, the less you will subject yourself into situations that don't serve you. But if your water element is out of balance, then you'll be people pleasing. You'll put other people's needs above your own, and you will suffer willingly and wonder why your life is so horrible. But it's something that we choose. And once again, a lot of people don't see it. You're not a victim. If you're in any, it's somebody else's fault that something's happening. That's narcissistic, and get out of that victim mentality. You can create the reality that you need, and it might be hard to step outside of your box or out of your comfort zone, but it's uncomfortable being in a horrible situation. Choose your hard. It's the same thing with poverty. It's hard being impoverished. Some people say it's hard to get out of poverty. Choose your hard, which hard you want to do. But you have the ability to elevate, every aspect of your life. So don't give that power away. You're not a victim, so don't play that. You know. So have you seen a lot of people that are metaphysical depend on substance abuse? At least Green. Listen, I'm trying to choose my words. There's that fire element coming up. So I spent a lot of my life gardening. I started gardening back in like fifth grade. My best friend growing up, his dad owned like a construction roofing company or whatever, and we would go in, and he would have like jars of let's say pottery like in his desk, and like in fifth grade, like fourth fifth grade, we go there, grab a handful, and like go upstairs and then do that thing. um and in my teenage years, as an adult, I didn't get into it too much. um Before my awakening and when I was doing music, always gardening, and then everything else. When I started my spiritual journey, I dealt a lot with it with I'm trying to choose my words wisely because lots of different substances and trips, let's say that. And it wasn't until, yeah, fun guys. It wasn't until I really started to get deep into, you know, self mastery and hermetics and, my unaliving attempts that I, left that, to the side. And once I stopped it, everything opened up. Now, I'm not going to say I didn't have like a lot of deep, experiences and some really profound experiences and lessons and everything else, but it wasn't until I stopped it completely that I began to truly master my experience and ground all the things that I had learned and the practices and really begin to see a lot of like true benefit from, the spiritual aspects of life. Most people use it as a crutch in the spiritual realms. Um, there are things that will benefit you to a degree. And everybody's path is different. If you're walking the hermetic path, it's not good for you whatsoever. If you are choosing to like really master yourself and your reality, you can't do any of it. Like once every blue moon, maybe, a ritual or something here and there. But if it's something that you do consistently, daily, weekly, a lot, then, you're just going to suffer. And it affects you, on a really deep level. And most people don't see this and don't get it because They don't have the polarity within their experience to say, okay, this is how I am with it, and this is my experience developing myself to a high level without it and seeing the things manifest, in my thoughts, feelings, actions, and karma, and relationships, and wealth, and everything else. Because it's a thing. It's a thing. I don't knock anybody that does it like whatsoever. Like I said, I've probably done more more fun guys, and then Lucy, and then try to choose my words. So, y'all know what I mean. I used to have a bottle of like certic acid that big just in the freezer, at all times. So it's not a dare program. I'm not here to shame anybody or say anything like that, but it's too many times where people, and I even hate to use the term spiritual community because that's not really a thing. Everything is spiritual. But people who identify as being spiritual use it as a way to escape and not to really deal with their stuff. A lot of people think it's a shortcut into spiritual growth. It is not at all. It will damage you more than anything if you are consistently doing it and never stop. And you'll be on a roller coaster and you'll have really high highs and really low lows. It's not possible for your mind to be grounded and stable. Constantly, wrecking your body chemistry and putting your receptors on an overdrive, over and over and over again. It's just a lot of negative aspects that come with it. But if you are depressed, if you're in a really low spot in your life, by all means, I will be your sitter. I will walk you through it. I will invoke all type of frequencies around you. I will purify all the whole space. Pull out demons and succubi, incubi. All we can we can get it done. So it's not like it's this evil demonic thing or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, you can look at it as medicine. But if you're not sick, then why would you continue to take medicine? Right. The biggest negative thing about substance abuse in the metaphysical communities is that the way that it works is it thins out your mental and astral matrix, the part of you that, basically your astral body that gives you your perceptions and your emotions and the karma for you to feel, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. It's the part of you that translates in information and energy in order for you to navigate through your reality. When you demagnetize that or thin that out, then your protection is gone, number one. Number two, most of what you will be experiencing is just, a lot of it be projections of your own subconscious mind. Your body chemistry and your receptors aren't stable enough for you to really receive a accurate read of the energy that you are decoding as you're experiencing something. You can make sense of it. Some of the stuff will be deeply profound and mean nothing at all, and you will go, "Oh my God, that was amazing!" I got, and in reality, it looks nothing like that. It may not. It could be a literal delusion, too. So it's really like a sticky subject too. Most people that promote it a lot, they're usually dealers. Literally, I don't care if they call themselves a shaman. They're usually literally a dealer. um, and if you keep paying them, they'll keep letting you do it and then not care about your spirit or your well being or anything. So just putting that out there. I don't care what country they're in. I don't care what the substance is. But if they have no ethics, it's a very unclear message when it comes to it. But most of the people that promote it the most, you know, other than being a dealer, um, the side effects that happen, they're usually the ones that get it the least. There's a percentage of people that they will take a substance the very first time and end up schizophrenic. The very first time. It only have to be a lot. There's people out there that, the very first time that they touch, plant medicine or anything like that, that it will just tear a hole in their mental natural matrix, and they can damage their ability to grow spiritually for the rest of this lifetime. And like I said, if you continue to do it over and over and over, you can have that effect as well. You know, Not everybody has a very, very, very strong mind. Some people can touch it and forever jack up their body chemistry and be schizophrenic from that point on. I've seen it happen. I've had friends that that's happened to well before I was even into spirituality or anything like that. One day they're normal, next day, they're talking about, Aaliyah is in the UFO, and and Tupac arguing with them and yelling at poles and everything else, and standing in the corner at 4 o'clock in the morning, just standing, you know. So it's a thing, you know. One of the things, and I'm gonna leave y'all with this or whatever. It's it's 12:27. One of the things that I want to talk about too is like this whole concept of being spiritual. Um, since we down here in the lower realms today, the whole concept of being spiritual, and I want y'all input on this, right? I really want y'all input on this. It's the same with the spirits in the bottles. So scary to watch their minds deteriorate. That's the worst. Like, listen, if y'all drink, you know, I don't even drink wine anymore. Like every now and then, I'll have a drink. Like probably have like 4 drinks a year, too, and it gotta be a special occasion, like a really special occasion, or like some type of ceremony or something like that. But people, do it continuously, daily, and become a slave to those spirits, for sure, and it deteriorates your willpower. And that's why you see people, as soon as the liquor store opens, it's people standing there, and it's a really hard thing to deal with, um, but those spirits are strong, very, very strong. There's ways you can navigate through it. Different types of psychology and different ways you can, hypnotize yourself and heal yourself, and just even going to double AA. Do they call it double A? Anyway, just go to AA. It's a lot of metaphysical things that they teach, and they don't do it in the frame of metaphysics. But one of the first things they say is, do you believe in God? AAA. I think it's just Alcoholics Anonymous. AAA will come help you change your tire. uh, but anyway, back on subject. So I'm gonna leave y'all with this, whatever, too. And once again, if you're new here, um, you know, this live stream been a little different, but make sure you hit the follow button, because we gonna do this every night for the next week. um, One thing I really want to talk about is, the concept of spirituality and people identifying as being spiritual. Um, One thing in my development and meeting so many different people from so many walks of life, and different countries, different, systems, different traditions and religions and doctrines, and just, races and creeds and everything else, is that the people who identify as being spiritual usually have the weakest spirits and the weakest minds. And it's the craziest thing. It is the craziest thing. I think we talked about this a little bit last night too. Like, it's almost, actually, it's baffling, but it's amazing, um, to know that some of the people, so that's why they're there. The people who tend to have the strongest spirits are usually athletes and high level academics, you know, um, especially when it comes to athletics. People who are high level athletes, the ability to push your physical body beyond the capacity of normal people is a mental thing, it's a spiritual thing. They develop a way to enter into the zone, which is literally the same thing as Wuji in Taoism or Akasha in other traditions. Akashic trance, it's a very high level spiritual state in which you can train your spirit and develop very, very high levels of skill. And they do it naturally. Same thing with academics. You'll see, academic giving a TED talk or a lecture, and because their mind is so concentrated when they're in that state and they're in that flow zone, they will literally begin to radiate some of the most beautiful colors out of their aura. Even though they may not identify as being spiritual, they have some of the strongest spirits and some of the highest, levels and densities of light around them. Whereas, the average spiritual person, they're doing fun guys every weekend with their people and other plant medicines, and their auras are real green, their mind is real, not stable at all. And they're portraying this identity um that doesn't really help. You know, but it's a thing, so don't allow other people's projections and beliefs about what it means to be spiritual, because I don't mean nothing. Everything is spiritual. Everything. There's nothing outside of that. We all have a mental astral body. We all have these different realms. We all are subject to the elements and the flow of reality. The essence of everybody is that of the creator. So this projection from social media and new age stuff is really interesting. Most of the new age um, practices and psychology and books and things like that, it will get you to a certain level. Most of it's not founded upon truth, and a lot of it is just people that write books that have just read other books. So being spiritual, being an ascended master, being a Buddha, being an Arhat, being a sadhu, being a really high level being, it does not look like anything. It doesn't look like anything. You know, People will get on social media and be like, "Oh, I got all the crystals in the world, and I got this and that," and it's a trap. It's a trap. It's something else to cling on to and to project. So, if you don't fit that mold and you don't feel, like those are your people, it's probably for a reason, And if you're in those circles and then things like that, you know, um, we are where we're at, for a reason. It's a reflection of us. And, one person's karma is meant to be that, but a lot of people will try to, tune into, certain things and to fit into different circles and identities and stuff because that's what they see. And then they begin to resonate with that and then try to embody those things. But, you don't have to do that. The most powerful thing you can do is just be you. Do the fulfilling things to you. Get to know you and develop a powerful mind, and you'll be light years ahead of anybody that says, "Oh, if you just do these fun guys with me, then you'll be more spiritual," or you don't you don't walk around dressed like Dr. Quinn medicine woman. There's a lot of interesting things out there. And the beautiful thing about it is, it's a lot easier to find real gurus and masters and stuff that actually know what they're talking about. Um, it's a lot easier now than what it ever has been before. But the majority of people, everybody's just teaching from their level, whatever level that may be, and they may be your bridge to get to a certain level. Um, but most of the people who teach openly, like complete systems of development and ascension and like all the higher spiritual practices, they don't look like anything. None of them. They don't look like any particular person or thing. When you see them, they don't have on a freaking a copper crown with with crystals all over it and huge freaking like they don't look like anything like that whatsoever. You know. So Open your mind. Don't overly identify with any concept or idea. There are grandmas. Yeah, listen, it's crazy. Like I said, I've come across people. Said the Copper Crown. It's all types of stuff out there. Um, some of the most enlightened people I've ever met, they've been in the hood. They've been living on the streets. They've been doing all types of stuff, and the ones who are grounded, who know and are like really, really enlightened, you couldn't spot them out in the crowd from anybody whatsoever. You wouldn't be able to tell how much money they had, how many houses they have, how enlightened they are. You wouldn't be able to tell none of it whatsoever. You wouldn't be able to tell, any of that just by looking at them, not even talking to them. Until you show that that you're worth giving some light to. And that's why I say it's important to like recognize that, because going off of social media and most of the stuff that's out there, it gives people a false outlook on what it means to be spiritual, or what it means to grow spiritually, or even to do spiritual practices. Um, so I'm worth getting like oh, for sure. All of you are. I mean, this is why we're here. This is why I'm here sharing it. And for me, I'm open to sharing it with anybody who's welcome to receive it. Because just being able to share our life from whatever level it is, like I said, everybody's just sharing from whatever level they're at, but there's high levels, there's low levels, there's levels that are in boxes, there's levels that will open up whole realities and worlds for you. So it's not this just this is the right way, this is the wrong way, but this is the highway, and this is the low and limiting way. And things that can literally put you in a box, and you can waste a lot of time getting caught up in different concepts and ideas and ideologies and weird astral stuff that's out there. And it's a lot of it. Once again, there's a lot more misinformation out there, and it's a lot of people out there with the online degrees. So it's 50K. I do not have it in me. I was about to sign off. I forgot all about that. You did not. You did not forget. I haven't even been looking at the light counter. But that's hilarious. We might have to take a rain check on the meditation. We already did our Kabbalah session earlier, so that meditation was intense. I gotta, still come down from that. uh, but how long have I been on here? We're going on 2 hours. We're at an hour and 52 minutes. It says 4 a.m. here. Oh wow, yeah. um, so maybe we will do this meditation, and then I'll sign off after this. Instead of do it next stream. All right, I'll take your advice. Thank you. Since you're the one that brought it up, I'll do it tomorrow. I'm going to stream earlier. I may stream twice. It's Thursday. Yeah, so I may stream like 10 o'clock here, which would be what, one on the East Coast. And then I'll probably stream again tomorrow night as well. But yeah, I thank y'all for hanging out with me. If anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns, or anything, y'all know how to reach me. You can message me here directly on TikTok if you're interested in joining into any of the courses or in-person workshops or retreats and tours or anything. You can check out the link in my bio. That information is there as well. If you have not hit the follow button, please hit the follow button. If this is your first time with me, I thank you. These conversations get really, really interesting. Most of the time we'll do practices and talk about other stuff. This one was a little different than usual. You have a good night too, Jade. Um, yeah, so check it out. Other than that, y'all have a good night. I'm about to chill out, and finish my tea, and I appreciate y'all. Have a very, very, very blessed and beautiful night, everybody. Uh, Peace.